sometimes I feel like I'm a broken record when I just talk about versatility, resiliency, perseverance. That those are all qualities that championship teams have, and because they find a way to win different ways, and they find a way to win games at critical moments, and they can make plays at critical moments. And so for our guys today, just felt like another example of that. They just, as good as we were playing early, our own miscues and some forced by them allowed Kansas State to get back into the game. And I think it tested us. It tested our resiliency. It tested our culture to stick together. Because in the end, when you block a punt, they score off of that. When you throw a pick in your own end, they score off of that. When you fumble in your own end, they score off of that. Those are moments when some teams could break. When the game gets tied, can't get the stop, and so through it all, could we play better? Could we found a way to play better at some key moments? Sure, but we played well enough at the most critical moment when the ball's on your own 4 or 5 yard line there for 4 straight snaps, and our defense was able to get the stop. So it was a great start to the game. I love the efficiency of which we were playing in all 3 phases. Unfortunately, we let them back into the game, and then we had to fight like crazy to find a way to win. But to sit here 8-1 sure feels a heck of a lot better than sitting here 7-2. And so proud of our team. But we also know that we can improve and we can get better, and our best football's still out there.
Hey, Steve, you mentioned that last series there defensively. How much of that comes back to you've got a veteran defense, a veteran staff that has been together, guys understanding what their assignments are and knowing what to do and how to do it?
Yeah, I think that is a huge component to it. I think continuity. I think guys playing in the same system for 3 consecutive years. I think guys getting coached by the same coaches for 3 consecutive years. Like, there's a level of consistency to that. The message is very consistent. I also think what is helpful there is depth, and the idea that we can rotate players throughout the game and feel very comfortable when other guys are in the game, that we can rotate young players in there and trust them to go do their job, and then spell back and forth. In the end, when you get into games like this in the fourth quarter, maybe we're not as tired this year as maybe we were in the past when we were just playing 11 or 12 guys. But now when you start playing into the 20s with depth, and you're rotating corners, and you're rotating your safeties, you're rotating your linebackers, you're rotating the entire defensive front, that maybe we just have a little bit more juice in the tank there at the end to make a couple of those plays. And so, like I said, not everything went our way today. Some things were self-inflicted wounds. Some things happened today that were out of our control, and to our players' credit, they didn't ever let that get in the way of them being focused on what they needed to do at the end of the game.
Coach Ethan Burke, he was, I think, questionable kind of during the week. When did you know he was going to play, and how would you describe his impact on the game today?
Yeah, so on Tuesday, we let him. Ethan practiced, and he probably got 15 to 16 full reps on Tuesday, and then I wanted to see how he responded on Wednesday. He came back and practiced more on Wednesday, and then at that point we felt good, like, okay, he's going to be available to us. I love Ethan because he's a blue-collar guy, man. How he makes his plays, what he does is through effort, through toughness. He's got a high football IQ. I think he brings a lot to our defense from that side, but he also brings a toughness mentality that way. So in the end, it was great to have him back because we needed that rotation today. That was a long one, especially in the second half when they started possessing the ball.
Steve, what did Malik show you today, and what did he show you that gave you the confidence to stick with him and still have him throwing the ball there in overtime?
Yeah, well, I always feel for guys when they're early in their career of playing. because it was such a good start for him, and he was making some great plays, and there were some things there that obviously we felt good about. But I think one thing for Malik, and I'm going to have this discussion with him, and that not every play is going to be the play. Yeah, that it's not always that play where you make that throw. And what he hopefully can understand is we're going to be an aggressive play calling team, and he's going to have plenty of opportunities to make throws and to do those things. And sometimes, similar to last week, sometimes your best play is throwing it away. And we haven't got to that point yet with him because it's not about talent. It's not about understanding of the scheme. He doesn't have to prove anymore that he has to make a play. He makes plenty of plays, and we see him make those plays. But what I saw out of him today was, again, bouncing back. He had thrown the interception on the screen, backed up. And then we have the fumble with Jonathan, and inevitably we needed a drive. And he made some really critical throws on that drive to get us down there when we kicked the field goal. Had a couple big throws to AD, had a really nice fourth down conversion to JT Sanders. And really, I thought he was throwing a touchdown to Xavier on the third down, and we didn't get a holding penalty. We didn't get a pass interference penalty, but we're not getting those. So we're not going to complain about that. All right, but it was the right read, and things were there for him to make that play. It didn't happen, but he led us on that drive, which I think is big for him from that standpoint. I don't know exactly on some of the throws there in overtime, but he should feel like we have the utmost faith in him because we do.
Steve, you're pretty consistent about preaching complimentary football. Just wanted your assessment of the sequence at the end of the first half where you had the fourth down stopped and the punt got blocked. And, of course, they scored at the end. Just your assessment of the end of the first half.
We screwed up our punt protection. We had one guy thought he heard one call that really is not even in our system. And so when you don't block a guy right there down the middle, unless he's not a good player, he's going to block it, and that's exactly what happened. So at that point, you're just fighting, scratching, and clawing to try to keep him out of the end zone. We weren't able to do that. But I thought there were some other moments where there was some great complimentary football on our part, especially early in the game of, where we decide to punt the ball there in the first drive and pin them deep. We get a stop. We get the ball back at midfield, then we go score. And so there were some things in there, like when you try to pin people deep, the key is keep them there. So when they punt it back, you have really good field position again. So there were some things there today, I thought, from a complimentary standpoint that we did really well. In that instance, that was not a great one. And then, quite frankly, at the end of the game, we had an opportunity there to end the game in regulation on a fourth down, and they converted it. And so it would have been great to end the game right there. But we had to play longer, and we had to keep fighting.
Steve, you're 3 and 4 in the red zone. But you had another fourth and short and didn't kick the field goal. So this is a recurring thing with you. Do you question it yourself, or
no? Because I love that fourth down run by Cedric Baxter for a touchdown today, baby. That one was huge. So sometimes, if you're gonna go for it, all right, you gotta have a mindset that, man, this is the best play for us in the moment. And I love the play. I'd call it again right now. Unfortunately. The Wildcat and the ball rubs off the hip of Cedric Baxter, or JT Sanders is going to walk in the end zone for a touchdown. So sometimes that's football. It happens like that, all right? And I can't sit here and keep wondering, and well, could I, should I, would I? Because if I would have done that, I would have punted the ball at midfield too, and we wouldn't have had a touchdown run by Cedric Baxter. So there's a mentality to which we do, and that was my gut telling me to do it. If anybody wants to know, the book said to go for it too, so we can ask what the book thought.
On far right, Cedric.
I got to see that book. Steve, even when he was struggling, you still were throwing the ball with Malik, just like in Houston. What does that say about your confidence in him, and does he realize that you're putting him in the positions?
Well, I hope so. Because what I know is this: we're not going to be able to win the rest of the games on our schedule if we don't throw a pass, right? And so we're going to have to. We're going to have balance. And in the end, we try to create some opportunities for some throws that he can get his confidence back. And I thought we were able to do that. There were some perimeter throws there that I thought the kind of clean reads for him. And then that allowed him to ultimately feel comfortable on fourth down to find JT over the middle when it wasn't as clean of a read, but he was able to kind of get his rhythm back. So, I wouldn't have anybody out there if I didn't think they were good enough to help us win. And Malik is good enough to help us win. But again, there's things in there that hopefully we can grow from in this game that he can continue to improve because, like I said, when he's hot, he's great. The key is not every throw is going to go for that big explosive touchdown play. Sometimes it's okay to check it down. Sometimes it's okay to throw it away. It's okay to punt, right? That's fine. But that's our job as coaches to try to get them to that point.
Congrats on the win, Coach. How's your heart rate, first off?
I'm good now.
All right, sounds good. One of the biggest words that you love to use is consistency. So how great is it to have a kicker like Bert that's so consistent?
Awesome. Bert, we've got a lot of faith in. And, one thing I try to do as a coach is let our players know I believe in them. And I wouldn't tell them I believed them if I didn't. And I think Bert is a prime example of that. Sometimes early in the year you miss a couple kicks here and there, but I know what he's capable of. And so the fact that he was able to now find his rhythm here the last few ball games and make some really big kicks for us is going to be huge for us moving forward. And so we're fortunate. I thought, kickoff wise, Will Stone was tremendous again today. Sanborn punting the ball like that. Our specialist unit's really good. And again, I hate to belabor the point, but we're not a one-dimensional team, right? We have a lot of ways in which we play really good football, and we're not reliant upon one aspect to play well. And if that aspect doesn't play well, we're in trouble. We can win games a lot of ways, and we can make big kicks. We can punt the ball well. We can kick off and not have them return one kickoff today. We can get a stop when we need to get a stop. We can come out and move the ball and score and run the ball and do those things. Inevitably, today was about our inability to take care of the ball, right? And you have 3 turnovers and a block punt. That allowed them to get back into the game. Outside of that, we played really good today. So hopefully, all of our players understand that we believe in them, but we're also going to continue to push them and demand that they play to their standard and to their capabilities. And, that's our job as coaches when we get them back on Monday to continue to push them to be the best that they can be. And that was no different than Bert earlier in the year. We know what he's capable of. The easy thing is switch kickers. Well, yeah, that's great. What if that guy you put in to switch him to, he starts missing them? Then what do? Right? So you try to instill in the guys the confidence and you work on some of the fundamentals and techniques to where they can improve it. And then they start to get their rhythm back. And I think that Bert's a prime example of that.
Hey, Steve, you talked about how much you like that fourth down run by Cedric. Just how good is it to have him getting healthier, and what does that do for your offense? And then an update on Quinn if you have it.
Yeah, big confidence booster for Ced. He's getting healthier and healthier. It's been a really good 1-2 punch here for the last couple weeks. Even today, Jonathan got a little banged up earlier in the game, and Ced got a little bit more extended time. Anytime you have 2 rushers basically go for 100 yards each, that's a great thing for us moving forward. And I know that was a position that was a question mark for us coming into the year, when Bijan and Roshan moved on. And now here's Jonathan and here's Cedric doing their thing, and then offsetting that with Keelan and Blue. Those guys have done a nice job as well. So it's great to have him back. Quinn's update, he's moving in the right direction. How quickly, I don't exactly know yet. I know this much. Our team is fighting through a lot of stuff from an injury standpoint. We didn't have Christian Jones all day today. Kelvin Banks went down. Hayden Connor had to go to tackle. Ethan Burke was out. He was back in. Keaton Crawford wasn't able to go today. So we've had Jalen Catalon's been out. But I think that speaks to the depth of this team. And it's one thing to have depth. It's another to have the depth and those guys being prepared to play. not only for themselves, but the coaches having faith in them to do that. And so, again, one of the strengths of this team is our depth, and quarterback's no different. Hopefully, we can get Quinn back. In the meantime, we're going to try to pour into the things that Malik continues to do well, and then try to work on some of the issues there and taking care of the ball.
Got time for 3 last ones. Start with
Coach,
Longhorns.
8-1 with 3 games left in the regular season. If a win isn't described as pretty, but you still got the win and you're sitting at 8-1, do you just not care at the end of the day and you just keep pushing forward?
No, man. I'd much rather win ugly than lose pretty. I've never seen a pretty loss, so I'll take this one. I love being 8-1. Proud of our team. Like I said, we did a lot of really good things today, but there's a handful of things that I know we can improve upon, and that was one of the things I just challenged the team in the locker room. It's easy to look at the result and be excited about the result of the game. Our job as coaches is to go back and peel back the onion on the game and find areas for where each individual player can improve so that the team can improve. And like I said, I think our best football is still out there. We were close today to playing our best football. But then block punt, interception, another interception, fumble. Next thing you know, we're in a dogfight. And the game really didn't need to be a dogfight. But we made it that way. And then credit Kansas State for capitalize on those things. But I do think that our guys are finding out about what character really means and what being a team really means and why culture is so important and why sticking together is so important. So on that note, I'm pumped about that because like I said, there's a lot of teams that would have played in this game today that wouldn't have won, and we continue to find a way to win, and that's, like I said, the sign of a champion.
On the far right, Chip.
Steve, I was wondering what Kleiman said to you after the game. I saw, he was trying to talk to you there in the crowd noise.
No, I've got a great deal of respect for the job that he's done at Kansas State. We've been in some great battles. My 3 years as the coach, every one of them has come down to the final possession. Fortunately for us, we found a way to come out on top all 3 years, and so moving forward, we're not gonna have that opportunity to play them anymore. But a ton of respect for the job that they do, and he's got a heck of a team. He's built that roster right to fit who they are, and I'm sure they're going to be around for a while with him at the helm.
Last one. Start over here on the left.
Sark, the final play of the game, that 4th down stop in overtime, what's going through your mind right before that ball is snapped, and what did you see on that play?
Well, when they decided to go for it, the couple things that go through my mind are, one, them spreading us out, and my concern was the quarterback run. Their quarterbacks had ran the ball so well leading up to the game, and I thought we defended it really well. They tried it a few times. It wasn't really there. My concern was that we get spread out, and then I wanted to make sure that we had really good rush lanes, because if they did throw a pass and then we started to get deployed covering people, that if Howard would have tucked it and ran, it could have gotten scary. And he started making some plays later in the game, extending the play. And so I was hopeful we could generate a rush, but still maintain our pass rush lanes, which is what we're able to do.
Last one to your right, Leah.
Kind of building off that, you've emphasized for the better part of the season the turnover game and also the pass rush. What do you think was key to unlocking both elements of your defense today?
Well, I think it's in sport, as you do something well, and then you do it well again, and then again, you start to build confidence. And with confidence, you start to play a little bit more free. And I thought our pass rushers today rushed. They felt comfortable rushing when they got their opportunities. And I think in coverage, we've continued to build confidence, staying sticky in coverage. Mookie Taft, 3 straight weeks, man, what an interception he had today. So again, we got to continue to attack the football defensively. What a huge play that was, getting the sack fumble, giving us the ball on the 5 and scoring right there and taking advantage of that. But I do think that those two things are tied together, and they got to both have responsibility. We want to play tight in coverage. Well, we got to have the ability to get home, right? If we want to get home, we got to be tight in coverage, right? Those two things have to be, on the same string. And I think that with confidence as the years gone on that we're able to do that, then at the critical moments, then guys can really go cut it loose like they're able to at the end of the game.